Welcome everyone to the 73rd Status Town Hall on the 15th of March 2021. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope everyone enjoys the updates. First up from People Ops, I'm just going to give a really quick update on a few things. Number one is the anniversaries. We've been so lucky to have such fantastic core contributors, and especially the last 3 years, we've had some great people that have joined us and helped us in this project. So a big thank you and happy anniversary to Yuri, Richard, Andrea F., Yaksek, Eugene, and Andrea P. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and what a great achievement to be with Status for 3 years. So thank you all, and keep doing what you're doing. New starters. We've had 4 new starters in the last month, and actually in the last couple of weeks. So we're really excited to welcome Rachel, who has joined the finance team as our accountant. So welcome aboard, Rachel. We are so thankful you have joined. I know the finance team are especially thankful. So we hope you have lots of success here at Status. Next up, we have Frank. Frank has joined as the WACU platform lead. He's actually provided us a very small video, so I will play that for you all to listen now, which is his intro.
Hi everyone, I'm Frank, the new WACU platform team lead. Bit about where I come from. So I've done a lot of C++, TypeScript, and Rust, and also leading teams. More recently, I was working on cross-blockchain protocols, implementing atomic swaps between Monero, Ethereum, and Bitcoin blockchain. Personally, so I live in Sydney, Australia, as you can guess from my accent. And with my wife and 4-year-old son, we love to do camping and hiking in the outdoors. For fun, I also teach and train martial arts. I'm very excited to be working at Status because I love decentralized technologies as a tool to open market competition and also for end-user privacy. So what we'll be doing here is leading the implementation and design of the JavaScript implementation for WACU so that we can help dApps and wallets adopt WACU protocol, which is our decentralized communication protocol. Looking forward to meeting everyone. If you end up not sleeping, just feel free to ping me in the middle of the night. It'll probably be the middle of the day for me. And yeah, see you soon.
Thanks, Frank. Sorry, let me just... that was Frank, so thank you so much, Frank, and we welcome you on board.
Hi.
Next up, we've got Matt and Jordan. Both Matt and Jordan actually just joined last week, so really new to Status. Matt has joined as the NIM tooling developer, and Jordan as a NIM developer. So we all hope that you settle into Status and you really enjoy the NIM team and working with everyone else here in the project. Thank you so much, and good luck on your journey. And lastly, from the People Ops team, it's just a quick mention about the Pecan survey. That closes today. We would really love everyone just to jump on and give us some feedback. It's a really good tool for us to understand your engagement and also have a look at your well-being and see how we can help support that going forward. So far, we've only had a 28% participation rate. So for us to really kind of help you guys and implement some new cool things or address things that are happening, or just to kind of see how engaged everyone is, we would love it if you could just quickly jump on. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Just fill in that survey. You should all have the link in your email addresses. So really appreciate any feedback on that. So thank you all so much from the People Ops team. So over to Andrea, who will give us an update from Core.
Thank you very much, Terry. So from Core, so what we've been working on the past weeks, we've been working on iOS Keycard integration, which is going to be available from 1.12. Then we worked on delivered end-to-end messages for one-to-one. So you're going to see like a double tick, essentially, when the recipient will receive a message on the other hand in one-to-one chats. And then we kept working on the by crypto integration. So we provide a few services where the user can access and buy some crypto. And we finally managed to release 1.11 on F-Droid. In terms of planned releases, so 1.12 is currently in the beta Play Store. So that's if people want to try it out, they're able to install it. And we are actually in the process of approving it into the Play Store and the iOS Store. So probably midweek, if everything goes well, it's going to be released. 1.13, you can see the milestone. There's a link in the slides, and that's what we're going to be working on next, which is basically we will continue working on communities. We will extend end-to-end messages confirmation for private groups. We've been working on anonymous metrics for Waco. That's something that, because we would like to have a bit more introspection on what features are useful for our users. And we'll also be working on pin messages on top of bug fixing and performance improvements. And that's all from Core. Thank you very much, Terry. Back to you.
Thanks, Andrea. Next up, we're going to hear from Alec on the growth and retention. So over to you, Alec.
Thank you. Let's start by looking at app installs, which is one of our most important metrics. What you see on this chart is the number of installations on Google Play and App Store. Note that this chart does not include data for desktop client, APK downloads, or F-Droid. So this year, so far we had over 640,000 app installs, over 99% of which happened on Android devices. Currently, we get around 9,000 app installs per day. And on the next slide, I will explain where do these app installs come from. So let's see, yes. That 99% of all the app installs I've mentioned come from Google Play, and 86% of those are the result of Google Ads campaigns. So around 85% of all our new users come from Google Ads. And let's stay in Google's realm for a second, and please, let's switch to another slide. So 584,000 is how many users we've acquired this year so far, but not all of them decided to stay and keep the app. So as a result, this last Thursday, we hit 451,000 Android users with the app installed on at least one of their devices. On January 1st, we had almost 270,000 users with the app installed. So, which means that we grew by 67% this year. By the end of this month, we should hit 500,000 users. And you might be wondering, okay, so almost 500,000 people have our app installed. So how many actually use it? And the next slide will tell us. So according to Google Play, so please remember that's Google's data, we get around 13,000 users per day. And yep, that's per day. About 8,000, so that's roughly like 63% of them are new users, mostly acquired from Google Ads, but still that's 13,000 users per day. And these people will open our app. Let's on the next slide look at where are they from. And that's the slide you saw, very similar one you saw in the newsletter, but the data is updated. Well, we get people mostly from South America, and that's where we focus our marketing efforts at the moment. 30% of users come from Brazil, 11 from Colombia, 8 from Argentina, but you can also see Philippines, India, and so on. On the next slide, we'll see how does it affect peers stats. So 13,000 daily active Android users versus little above 4,000 peers. And this, unfortunately, includes also desktop clients, iOS clients, and basically every form of peer. So this simple comparison of 4,000 versus 13,000 daily active users makes me personally believe that, well, we probably need to keep on working on the onboarding process, and not only on the retention, which is something I'm about to mention on the next slide. So I pulled data for cohorts, and based on that, I calculated average daily new peers. So basically, how many new peers we had on average every week. So that's the green column. So as you can see, the first week of this year, we got around 2,000 new peers per day. Also, for every peer, I calculated the number of days for which that peer was active, and then used those sums to calculate weekly averages. So 55% of our peers are new, and new peers we acquired in the first week of this year, so first green column, and they stayed active for 1.6 days so far, because some of them may reappear, like they can still open the app. While new peers we acquired around the end of January and the beginning of February, somewhere in the middle of this chart, they stayed active for 3 days so far. So it seems that since the last week of January, our retention has slightly improved, but we still have a long way ahead. That's all from me for today. Thank you.
Thanks, Alec. Much appreciated. Next up, we're going to hear from Jacob and Guy Louis, who's going to give us an update from security and infrastructure.
Thank you, Terry. So as Andrea mentioned, the main thing this time around is the F-Droid release. The 1.11 release was a bit bumpy, but 1.12 went quite smoothly. So hopefully this is how it's going to be in the future. I will be looking into automated updates to F-Droid, but that may be a bit difficult to get stable, so we'll see. In other news, we now have a GTA-powered mirror of all of our repositories under repos.status.im. And this is something I'll probably be expanding. We hopefully will also sync things like issues and PRs in the future, although they'll probably need some kind of custom solution. I did some cleanup on our HackMD nodes.status.im instance, because for the longest time we had the open registrations, but also open access to new documents. So we had a lot of trash in there. So I did a bunch of cleaning. So if you are missing any documents, just ping me. We do have backups. So just tell me the title or the contents, and I can restore that. But hopefully I haven't deleted anything major. In other news, we finally disabled Whisper. So now all of our fleet nodes are running only Waku. And that took a while, but as far as I can tell, there aren't any remaining peers that are stuck on just using Whisper, so nobody should be affected. This is mostly just an optimization on how simple the configuration of the backend is. There's also some work going on for the Avalanche testnet, which Arthur is focusing on, although that's going to be a long way in the future. Got some improvements to NIM Waku fleet, which might be the future of status messaging. We'll see. I've improved the billing setup for Nimbus and the F2 fleets because it was a bit wonky with the help from the financial team. That's really good. New layout for the Permon testnet for Nimbus. We also improved the backup setup for pretty much all of our services using Restic, which is a very neat tool. And using it, we'll be able to essentially have multiple, both offline and online backups of our stuff, everything encrypted, of course. There's also work ongoing for a business intelligence setup. We now have an instance of Airflow, although it still needs a bit of work, but it's already up and it's working. And we'll need some frontend for the data that Airflow will generate, and also a backend, but the automation for all kinds of workflows is already there. We also retired the mail train service, which was supposed to be used for Nimbus newsletters, but it didn't work out, and we were back to using Google Groups. Maybe we'll find some better alternative in the future. That's about it. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Guy Louis, over to you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I want to quickly talk about emergencies and critical situations for our network and our apps. We've put up a simple process to help any core contributor to raise an alert when facing a critical and time-sensitive situation. So it's quite general. We're talking any type of issue that needs an immediate action. Let's say in the hour, that cannot wait next business day. Any of you guys can witness this kind of issues, and this can be, well, either a critical bug or more probably some behavior of the app, an issue with our infrastructure or a security issue. So you basically need to know in this kind of situation who to contact and how to raise the alert. I mean, how to contact this person. So to find these answers easily, we've set up a Discord channel. So it's internal and it's called Emergencies. And it's pretty simple. There is a pinned document, and there you'll find a document telling you per type of issue who to contact by order of priority. And you'll also find everyone at status contact detail in status, and how to find their personal contact details like email or phone if they're not available on status. So it's pretty simple, but we did not have this process. So just take a look at the Discord channel in the internal section called Emergencies, so that you're ready if you face some critical stuff, time sensitive, to go over there and see who to contact. Can you go to the next slide, please, Terry?
Yes, absolutely. For your Keycard update. Here you go.
Thank you. A quick word about Keycard, just to state what was achieved in the past month and reiterate what's next. So Andrea said it, but well, again, congratulations to the whole mobile team. You did it. We've got Keycard in iOS now, so it's in 1.12. That's really quite something. And we've also got this slight upsell banner that promotes the usage of Keycard for those users who don't have one for better security. So this was done. And quick reminder of what's next in terms of feature. We've got the reset a Keycard feature. It's already ready. It will be in 1.13. We've got the backup of keycards coming. That's the possibility to use several keycards with one account. And we should have that in 1.13. And next up will be to allow for our most intensive user to clear the pairings on the card or on the phone. If you're using several keycards with one phone or a lot of different phones with one keycard, you need this kind of advanced feature to manage your keycards. And next, in terms of products, we're going to have a new packaging. It's going to be better. It's going to be cheaper. And we'll have express delivery worldwide available on the site very soon. So I'll keep you updated on that. And thanks. That's all. That's it for Keycard.
Thanks, Guy-Louis. Next up, we're going to hear from Dimitri for an update for Dagger. Over to you, Dimitri.
Thanks, Terry. Hey, everyone. Let me just give you a quick update on Dagger, this project that we're working on, which is an incentivized peer-to-peer storage network. We just recently started working on this, and we're currently in the research and development phase. We are planning to produce a POC sometime at the beginning of Q2. We'll see how that turns out. We're looking into having a POC that has incentivized bandwidth, mainly on top of virtual channels or state channels. We're exploring Nitro channels right now, but depending on the results, that might change. We do have a port of Nitro channels to NIM called NIM Nitro. We're also looking into long-term storage, but probably not as part of this POC. But we'll focus on that after this POC is produced. And if you want to keep track of the progress, please follow the Dagger research and the NIM Dagger repos on GitHub. And that's about it.
Thanks, Dimitri. Next up, we're going to hear from Johnny from marketing. Over to you, Johnny.
Thanks, Terry. So as Alec mentioned, we are still focusing on Latin America. So I wanted to run through some of the numbers of our influencers. So this is over the past month. Felipe Persigo drove over 2,000 clicks to the install page. Cryptomaniacos, almost 1,400. Augusto Bacchus, 239. So this is great to see because we are driving traffic to install outside of the Google Play CPI campaigns. And from here, we can start to recognize some of our best performing influencers and key opinion leaders ahead of the communities feature. So we can now start to work with them and prep for launch of that feature and start to build those communities inside of Status. So we'll continue to monitor who's performing well over the course of the next few months. Jinho's been working on a campaign in South Korea and waiting on a couple of assets now, but that it will hopefully launch this week, targeting the developer and trader communities because we have a pretty strong developer community, and we do know that a lot of trade volume comes out of South Korea, so we'll be doing some efforts there led by Jinho. As Andrea mentioned, crypto on-ramps are being implemented, phase 1 at least, which will be a web view of our providers, of our crypto on-ramp providers. And from an ASO perspective, so App Store optimizations, we made some pretty significant updates to the App and Play Store copy with 1.11. So updating the title, description, just basically loading them up with identified keywords. And we are noticing an improvement there. I'll share a chart in Discord later this week, but in our areas of focus, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, for example, we are in the top 10 for our branded keywords. So branded keywords are words like status wallet, status Ethereum, status crypto, so anything that includes the word status in it. And we are in the top 10, if not top 5 for most. And the Play Store, obviously, because of our campaigns, we're ranking much higher. And in the App Store, we have some improvement to do, notably in the UK. There are certain things that we need to fix there, but we are improving, which is great. And then with 1.12, we have a whole bunch of new assets, which Alex has created, which hopefully drive better conversion. Our Evergreen and CPI campaigns led by Simon, they're stable right now. As Alec mentioned, we are driving a lot of installs through those campaigns, and we are prepping for cohort testing, so message testing, once again, led by Simon. And he's got a plan, but essentially we will potentially have to pause campaigns to set a baseline. And then from that baseline, we can create indexes for each different cohort and each different message, so we can measure the effectiveness of each message in those campaigns, which is great. And as you can see, so Alex shared some of the reporting. There's been a lot of work on social or just marketing dashboards in general. That's been a focus for the quarter. And we had a good review of marketing metrics last week, and we hope to have version 1 of our dashboards done by the end of the month. And then you can join the metrics reviews where we go through all of our social KPIs, our social performance, our App Store performance, our campaign performance every other Friday. So please join. A few people do, and it's always good to just look at some of those data and insights. And then from a branding and positioning perspective, we're doing some early exploration on how we talk and position the communities feature, right? That's going to be a pretty big effort and a pretty big value prop of Status. So we need to think through how we talk about it, how we approach community owners, and then also end users, and then make sure that reflects across all of our channels. So there will potentially be copy and positioning updates to, website, social, things like that. And we're starting that now just to get a jump on it. Next slide. So we have been in the press quite a lot in Latin America. Once again, we do have a PR team in Argentina, and they've been great. Juan David has been on a bunch of social channels, Instagram live sessions. So has Alan and Eduardo. They've been amazing. We have been mentioned in mainstream press, especially with the NFT craze, which has been good. And you may have noticed that Vitalik did give Status a shout out on the Tim Ferriss podcast. So we are getting organic mentions as well, which is great. Next slide. And then, so we have shifted, once again, based on our insights, data and insights from Alec and James on social, we are shifting our content strategy slightly. James has been doing amazing, just tailoring our content to our specific audiences. Like, we do know that technical content performs better, so that's being reflected on our social channels, and it's performing well, right? So talking about L2 solutions, most recently, James wrote an article about EIP 1559, which has been amazing. And then you've probably start to notice, well, you've probably seen some of that on our social channels. And then the other thing we're trying to do is create a bit of like an us versus them narrative. So we are going to be going after some of the big Web2 companies in just a very technical perspective, in a technical way, to show off how Status is a solution to a lot of the pitfalls of centralization. And we're going to plan to be a bit more aggressive with this over the course of the next few weeks, over the foreseeable future. And then lastly, Jakob, Jared, and James are setting up some data pipelines with Airflow, so we can just have a bit more insight into where conversations are happening across social. So basically, we can have a bit of our own internal social listening tool to tap into conversations around the internet. And then that should help us out significantly. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Johnny. Much appreciated. And next up, we're going to hear from Simona from the community. So over to you, Simona.
Thank you, Terry. Hi, everyone. So for community, three kind of different sections to this. First of all, and you heard this a little bit from Andrea's update as well, we are progressing nicely to reach the milestone that we had for phase 1 of communities. So hopefully we are on track with that. What we plan on doing as well is obviously making sure that we tested internally in terms of moving some channels from Status into the Status community on Status, because we obviously want to dog food what we're building before we unleash it upon the world. So we're going to be doing that, and then once that's done and any bugs eliminated, and kind of the feedback from the internal team trickles through, we're going to be onboarding those pioneer communities that we've been gathering and queuing up for this moment. These guys will be instrumental in, again, giving us that feedback, because we want to build the community feature with the community. So that's going to be exciting. And from there, we will nicely evolve to phase 2 and phase 3, where everybody can then participate. In terms of local engagement, as reflected by some of the figures Alec presented as well, the LATAM community and activity is really, really growing, and it's incredibly nice to see. We are, Juan David and myself and one of the artists from the LATAM region will be on a Coindesk TV interview tomorrow. Not sure when it will be released, but obviously I will keep you up to date, and really looking at what we've been doing in terms of hosting crypto art and crypto meetups in Spanish, and really, really looking at onboarding that regional kind of people interested in crypto in that region, in their native language, and how they've been participating and what they've been doing. Again, a big focus on practical activities. So downloading Status, doing certain actions within Status so that they can get themselves familiarized with the technology, and obviously have that opportunity to ask a lot of the questions in person. We've started holding a couple of in-person meetups, obviously socially distanced, but we believe in that importance of that local connection and that local engagement. One of the things that you can see there is we've also started doing these NFTs for participation, so almost like a proof of participation. Again, the example you see there was created by a really popular artist in the space called Mahara. And it's something that becomes potentially not only a proof of participation, but potentially something that could in the future grant you access to certain channels and access to certain content. So that's a very, very interesting dynamic that we are exploring. Granja DeFi and Crypto Atelier, again, these are the meetups that have been happening in Colombia and also online with other meetup groups in the Latin region. They also have their own channels in Status, so that again, that conversation can continue and the people participating can continue asking their questions and continue learning. You can see there's a link to some photos from one of the meetups. In Brazil, we are getting involved with ETH Sao Paulo. Again, the same dynamic, ideally creating those engaging, practical pieces for people to get involved with and also download Status and start performing certain actions within the app. And Brazil as well, we are creating a free Udemy course that will cover blockchain, Ethereum, obviously Status, and also how to develop and deploy a DApp. So hopefully that is something that we'll see a lot of people come in and also learn about what we're doing. In terms of events, I spoke about Status and Web3 adoption on a podcast. You have the link there. We are also co-creating 2 events around NFTs. Again, just really exploring the recent creator community and NFT trend. One of them, you can see the link there to also sign up, is a protocol agnostic summit around creators and communities. And then we are also planning an OG NFT website, event, website to come. And it's a look at that history of NFTs and how it's kind of evolved. So that should be a very interesting one. And I'll update everybody once registration is live. And then a quick look at ambassadors as well, please, Terry. The next slide. Thank you. So in terms of ambassadors, we have 53 ambassadors now from 31 countries. We have a lot of different tasks completed since January, which is, again, great to see that level of engagement. We continue to get applications from ambassadors all over the world, which is, again, great. And also we've started doing a little bit of a pruning exercise. So once ambassadors who have registered, who used to be active, kind of drop in terms of engagement for 3 months, then obviously they are not necessarily excluded from the program, but they are kind of removed from that front line of ambassadors. We also had a very, very fruitful activity for Status Desktop. Again, shout out to Wong and Malik for doing a lot of great work. And we're so lucky to have such engaged ambassadors participating to actually building the application. So it's great. We've also had a lot of translations. Again, we are incredibly proud of just how many languages Status is available in, including the homepage. We now have a lot of the ambassadors contributing to translating the content of the homepage and hopefully making that broadening that access to what we're doing and what we are building. And that is it for community. Thank you.
Thanks, Simona. And that's it for us today. We did have a couple of questions, but we were unable to find somebody to answer them as they were not around today. So we will move those over to the next town hall, which will be on the 12th of April. So thank you, everyone that participated today with their updates. I hope everyone listening on YouTube enjoyed that. And we look forward to speaking to you on the 12th of April. Thanks, everyone.